this. Okay, good. Now, let's go to pretty quick. So I hope everyone got the syllabus. People who didn't get, again, send me an email. Email, not in chat. Okay, don't send in chat because I cannot put that again. It will have some spelling mistake and it goes into, it gets rejected like this. Okay, so don't want to happen that. So send me an email so that I'll have the exact email ID. What is the exact email ID so that I'll add you in the list. Okay, so here let's I'll be the instructor for QA. We'll have this class for 2 weeks. That is okay. For 2 weeks, that's up to 22nd. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, sure. So let's see here. So 2 weeks. Now we'll be having for 2 weeks this class, and so we'll go each and every, we'll go more into detail. What is QA is all about, and we'll learn different tools. Okay, and so first 2 classes that today will be complete introduction about various various types of testing, and why do you need this testing. So it depends. Okay, depends on the project, depends on the client, depends on the company. What kind of company they are using. Is it retail? Is it insurance? Is it pharmacy? Is it healthcare? So on. Okay. So that kind of testings they perform as per their company policies. So so we'll go all kind of testings. This is not just 22 here. I know we can only 22, but you need to go in detail. There might be so many other testings that's not included here, and then this is evolving process, right? This is the evolving process. New things keep on coming. Okay, new things keep on coming. New old things get outdated. New testing comes. So, but even though this will be there for a while. Okay, so here it's good to know what are the various testing. So first 2 classes we'll go through various types of testing, and don't miss tomorrow's class. That will be we'll go through half of the testing, and the remaining half we'll talk about how to open issues. Okay, that's a major important topic in the whole QA point of view. You will be doing it doesn't matter. You go for software analyst, you go as ETL tester, you go as QA analyst. You go anything which is related to testing perspective, not the software, hardware, or whatever it is. Okay. What you need to observe, what you need to have is you need to have most importantly observation skills, right? You need to observe. So why is it behaving this? And most importantly, you need to have some common sense. Okay, this common sense. Simple common sense which we miss every time. Okay, so that is more important when you are doing testing. Okay. Even if there is no documentation, no FRD, no BRD, nothing, still you can open defects and still you can perform your job without any hindrance. Okay, so we'll go through this. Okay, tomorrow's class, and third class we'll talk about this Rally tool. So what exactly is this Rally? So Rally is a test management tool. Okay, it's a test management tool where you create test cases, execute your test cases, report the defects, and so on. Okay, it's just not Rally. I mean, whatever tool you use. So here my point is, while explaining these tools, I always say, just don't be dependent on the tool. Today you're using Rally, tomorrow you're using something else. Day after tomorrow it's again you. Now these things keep on changing. So here I'm teaching 3 tools at least. Okay, 3 tools, mostly 4 tools. Okay, so you cannot limit yourself to 2 to 3 tools. Okay, you have to be more into you need to update yourself. Okay, but here for the ease of convenience, for understanding perspective, we'll be talking in 3 tools, but you don't have to, because you know what, there's a lot of competitive and lot of, it's a lot of competition actually. Okay, so if you're learning only few, one, two, three, then you're limiting yourself. Okay, you need to know some basic. Okay, you have, once you know the basic, remaining everything remains similar, if not same. Okay, so what are the basics? We all know the creating test cases, executing the test cases, reporting defects. Three major work. If you want to, we analyze more in detail how to do that, what to do that, but to be, in a high level, say three major important things. So understand the process, not the tool. Okay, that's what I mean. Understand the process. Tools keep changing. Okay, so don't just get addicted to tools saying, no, I only know Rally. Manu only told Rally. I know only HPLM. Just don't want to limit yourself. Okay. Okay. Let me give me a second. So some people cannot hear.
I can hear you. You can hear me, right? Okay. It is better now.
Okay, so some few people can hear, okay, few people cannot, okay. So I know that's actually the sound is up and down, I haven't heard it. So don't worry about it. People who cannot hear, I'll send you a better quality video, okay. Let me, so I'll be, just give me some time. Okay, so you know what? I'll be giving you better quality audio so that, okay, good. So you will be having two audio. Okay, so two audio. One is for better quality, better audio quality. So if you are not able to hear this, or if you are not able to, get the proper information in this class, you'll be having a better audio. Okay, so don't worry about it if you are not able to hear. So no big deal. Just make sure you are getting, better quality audio. Okay. So after QTP, let's have the final class. Okay, in QTP we'll talk about the automation. This is mostly regression part, and in automation we will see now how we can automate your test cases. So the reason why I was insisting on QTP, because when you get in a job, you're restricting yourself. Your QA. What you say is, you're looking for a job and you're looking only for QA. Now, there are not many opportunities on QA, right? Okay, there might be opportunities, but thing is, getting a project is not that easy. Okay, so what you need to is you need to have more skills. Okay, one skill is not good because this competitive world, a lot of people getting, a lot of things are happening. What you need to do is sometimes they have requirements like manual testing with automation. Automation 20%, manual testing 80%, 50% manual testing, 50% automation. So when you have such kind of thing, since you have some knowledge on QTP, you can jump on that. Okay, you say, yeah, I know this, I've learned this, I have a pretty good idea, and I have also worked in my previous project. So that's how you need to get into the system, because it's competitive world, and you cannot just stick to QA just like that. Okay, you cannot, because things keep on changing day by day. You need to have more and more skills. They require more and more skills, more and more. They expect more from you. So that's the reason we have QTP, and I'll just also show you the Selenium script, how how we can, if you run that script, how we can get an automation result. Okay, so that's a one class for QTP, just an introduction. We'll not go deep into coding, automation architect, automation developer. We're not going to do that, but we just have some idea and look and feel of a tool. Not really, not the tool, but the information on the tool, how does it work, and all those things. Okay. Next we'll go to certifications. Certification I'll be sending you half the week to complete your certificate, and it's free, completely free. You don't have to pay anything. Okay, except internet bill. You have to pay your internet bill. Other than that, you sit at home, just complete the certification. That should be good. Okay. So why this again? Same thing. When you put in your resume, just you're telling that you know something and you have certified that. You can say, yeah, I know what I have done I have completed my software testing from MBA, Microsoft Virtual Academy. This is directly by Microsoft. So you can, have that cutting edge when you get a project. So that will help you out. Okay, so that's the reason for this certification. And we know we'll have access. Let's see if I cannot get you access for Team Foundation Server. That is also a test management tool from Microsoft. Okay, so we have 4 test management tools, in which 3 you will be having access. One is Rally, Jira, and HPLM. Of course, you need to request to Tagore. He will be able to give you access. Team Foundation Server, of course, you will have an idea. If you really are interested in TFS, I can create you a whole new system and give you admin access with your email ID so that you can, work around and you can get some knowledge in that if you are really interested. Otherwise, I cannot give individual, access to you. But this Rally, Jira, I'll be giving you individual access. You can work on that. Any questions so far? So this is about just introduction. We're just running out of time. Let me know if you guys have any questions.
I think, yeah, so far good.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, so yeah, it's better, it's better to, that's a good way. Unmute your mic, and you can. That's a better way that keeps interaction well, and that helps to better communication. Because if you are using chat, what happens. You say something, I understand something, and I tell you something, and you understand something. So that's really miscommunication. So that's happening from long time. This is what I don't want. I don't recommend that. If you have questions, unmute your mic. Go ahead. That would be better way of asking your question, rather just pinging me on chat. Okay, because again, I might understand a different way. You're looking for different way, and you get an answer in different. So just we'll maintain less miscommunication. Okay. Okay. So let's okay. So I take 10 to 15 minutes. Anyone have any issues? Because I think you have one more class, but people who are even okay with that. Okay. So let's talk about this introduction. Let's go into various types of testing. Okay, so I'm muting everyone. So if anyone have any questions, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Okay. Okay. So here we will start with black box testing. Okay. So what is this black box testing? Okay. So this is black box testing it's a high level testing. Okay. Done by the team level, not the individual level. Okay. So and what is this based on? This is based on requirements and functionality. Okay. So black box testing is a high level testing done by the team level and not by the individual level. Why? Because black box testing has sub levels. Okay. Like system testing, functional testing, front end testing, all these constitutes to form a black box testing, because it's, there are sub levels in the black box testing. Okay. Now here's the question for you. Your boss always tries to test you. So always, whenever you are in project, whenever you are in job, you will be always tested. So make sure you are always prepared for that. Okay, you need to be ready for answering any questions there. So your boss directly asks you, okay, so we have done this project. Have you completed your black box testing? Simple question from your boss. Did you complete your black box testing? Now you need to make to understand to your boss saying that, okay, black box testing is a high level testing. It's not done by the individual, it's done by the team level. The reason being, it has various sub levels of this testing, like functional testing, integration testing, system testing, so on. That's the reason it's not done individual level, it's done at the team level. If they ask in group, like 5 to 10 members, have you completed black box testing? So that makes sense, because a lot of people are involved in different testing. Okay, one guy cannot be responsible completely for black box testing, okay? Unless you're a lead. If you're a lead, of course, you need to answer that because you are managing teams, okay? So that's the, that's the black box testing, okay? So based on requirements and functionality, so what are the requirements? So requirements can be in the form of documents, it may be verbal, okay? Sometimes it is verbal, okay? So your business analyst just tells you, okay, because this is what functionality we are looking at, this is what we are expecting. So that's it. Sometimes they don't give documents. So it's just verbal commitment and you need to understand that requirements. And, functionality. So functionality is, it can be, let's take an example here. Okay, so somebody said like we know Google.com, that's fine. I'm not just saying what's Google.com. What I'm trying to say here is what is the functionalities here. Functionalities can be anything. Functionalities can be image. Let's say this image. Okay, so this is a functionality. Okay, and this edit box here, whatever you type here, it shows all the information here. This is edit box. Okay, they have new feature. And these buttons, these buttons. Okay, so this doesn't work here. You see this button doesn't work because it's really, there's nothing to search when you don't type anything. You need to first type it, but I think this button will get outdated slowly because this is, so what I'm trying to say here, these are all functionalities. This is what your is an example. So we'll go more detail into this once you go once we move forward. And these buttons, URLs, okay, this is the URL. This is also an URL. When you click into it, it goes to the next page or navigate into the next web page. Okay, settings, and this drop down, I'm sorry, this is what Google app. Okay, Google app, and this is notification. All these are functionalities. So what are all this? So these are called functionalities. Okay, so we'll go in detail into that. So that's called functionality. Okay, what is a functionality? Functionality can be anything, like edit box, text box, radio buttons, images. Okay, all these are called functionalities. Here, what I have explained you is in web application. Functionalities can be in web application or client application. Client application is something which you have installed in your system, right? Like for example, Google Outlook. So this is Outlook. This is a client application. That means it is installed in your system and you're trying to access. And what I have shown you is web application. Web application is something which you use through a browser. It might be Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Opera, so on and so forth. Okay, so that's the functionality. Okay, so that's what black box testing is. Black box testing is internal system design. Oops, the test based on requirements and functionality is called black box testing. Okay, now let's go to the next one, white box testing. So white box testing is again high level testing, but this time this is done by the programmers, not by the testers. This is not done by the testers. Why? Because internal logic of the code has to be known. Let's take an example here. We'll just go an example and see here. Okay, good. Now you see this, you have a lot of options. Now this is what the developer does. Okay, this is Java for developer. This doesn't, this is not done by the testers, but here's what they will do. They'll be doing in the white box testing. They'll be looking into the code. So this is the code, and if there is some issue in the code, they will be fixing that issue. So that's called white box testing. Okay, again, don't go that this is called white box testing. White box testing is a high level testing done at the team level. Okay, not by the individual, because unit testing, SIT, system integration testing, all has to be completed so that you can say that white box testing is completed. Okay, now it's done by the programmers, not by the testers. Okay, why? Because internal logic of an application's code, shown you, right? Internal logic of an application's code has to be known. Then only you can do white box testing. Okay, because it's based on the code statement, branches, paths, conditions, loops, and the variables what you're assigning is a lot of things that has to be done in the white box testing. So as a tester, you're not going to perform white box testing. Any questions so far? Oops.
So far, good.
Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, actually, the reason I'm going fast because we have less time, and people will start leaving it because they have another class or different priorities. So that's the reason I'm just going a little fast because we have less time and we need to complete within the time frame, right? Um, so it's always important, even at your work, whatever it is, like let's say 1 week, you need to complete your work in 1 week. Normally, nobody will tell you in within a day but it's always good to complete beforehand so that whenever somebody asks you, your boss asks, so did you complete already? Yeah, just some topics are remaining, but most of them. So that's how you need to maintain the time limit. Okay, so the time limit is very important. Okay, so let's go
So
to
it
the
is
next.
1 hour per day, right?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
It's 1 hour.
Yeah, 1 hour per day. That's right, 1 hour, and that's excluding weekends. Weekends don't have.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Unit testing. So again, this unit testing is done by the um, developers. Okay, see here is it's done by the programmers and not by the testers. Why? Because it has to, you need to require detailed knowledge of the internal design. Okay, so let's see here. We'll go back to here. We'll try to see what's the unit testing here. Okay, so there are a lot of things involved in this. If you see this, there's HTML, there is a Java, there is a JavaScript, a lot of things here. Okay, so we'll not go into the details. So we'll just try to see here what exactly is in unit testing. So here, unit testing, right? Specific unit here. Let's say if you are working on script. Okay, let's see if you. These guys' codes have been changed. Okay, so if I want to see here, something, if I want to change here something, that's called unit because see, look at this. I'm just using some class into, this is like a loop inside the loop inside loop, right? It's pretty complicated code. So unit testing is one unit of that particular code. Okay, testing in units. For example, I'm just trying to modify some class here, in this web application, and that's called, you want to see that test, you want to do that testing, that's called unit testing. Okay, and this is done by the programmers because of course we are not going to do this. So this is only for your knowledge, that's why I'm showing up. Otherwise you don't even know, okay, so something exists like this because we are not going to do it. Simple. Okay. Oh, they have some really good, interesting thing from Google. So that means this voice recognition. They have this voice recognition, right? When you click on this, you don't even have to click on it. Once everything microphone is activated, you want to search Google, so it will search for you. Okay, so that's good. So that's all the functionalities. Okay, so all this we'll be discussing all this about functionalities. Okay, so that's unit testing. Okay, to test an unit of a code of a particular application's code, okay, is called unit testing, and it's done by programmers and not by the testers. The reason because you need to have detailed knowledge of internal program design. Okay, so that's the unit testing. Let's go to the next topic. Okay, before going to this integration, right, we just talk about this functional testing. Okay, let's talk about this functional testing. So what is this functional testing? To test a particular functionality or a feature of an application is called functional testing. Simple definition, okay? To test functionality or a feature of an application is called functional testing. Okay, so we talked about this. Let's go a little bit more in detail. More comprehensive, testing here. Okay, so this we know. Okay, as I told you, this is all testing. Okay, these buttons, these are all buttons comes under testing. Okay, this URLs, images. If there is another URL, you also have to test that. Now this is also called as functional testing. Okay, so let's go a little bit more complex website here, Amazon.com. Now this is a little bit complex. Here the functionalities, okay, are different. Now the reason why, because here the web page itself is integrated. Let's say if I want to shop something, this web page, you see this is integrated with URL. If I click on this, you see this, the whole web URL is changed. The URL is changed. Now here the images are integrated with URLs. Okay, let's leave that alone. Here, let me ask you one question. If you guys understand what the functionality and feature, so let me ask you this. Now let me hover my mouse over this and hover my mouse over department section. Okay, so can anyone say what any functionality changes? Did anyone observe any functionalities in Amazon? I'm just hovering my mouse. What is department section? Can anyone say what's happening when I'm hovering my mouse? Any important functionality that you notice? Anyone? I'm just hovering my mouse for this departments, and what's happening actually when I hover my mouse? Okay, it shows.
It shows all the like units within the departments.
Okay, drop down functions. Okay, different departments. Anything else? Anyone else? Anything more you can see? Okay, so that's good. You noticed one thing. Now let me tell you what I have noticed here. When I hover my mouse over these departments, if you see that, background brightness, if you see the background brightness, it's got dim. So now that's also a functionality, right? That's your functionality. You see this. This is background, background brightness is good. The moment I hover my mouse over departments, the background brightness suddenly changes to 0 or whatever the limit brightness they have. So they are changing the brightness, complete brightness of the. Now that's also a functionality. That can be a requirement. That is exactly a requirement from business analysts. What business analysts thought of this. They have designed this, that whenever you hover your mouse over this, the screen, brightness screen changes to low, and suddenly you hover your mouse, background screen changes. Okay, brightness changes. Okay, so that's also a functionality. That's a little bit complex here because not everyone noticed that, but still it's a functionality. Okay, because there might be a requirement. Okay, there might not be a requirement because nobody, it's not always documented. All these things are not always documented, but they say verbally, and you need to test it. And sometimes this, most of the times it goes unnoticed, and and you don't want to find these issues in the production. That's why they hire you, right? You don't want to get all of this into production. So, okay, so that's one of the complex features in Amazon. Okay, so that's called functional testing. Okay, so that's an example. There's a lot more things like that functionalities. Okay, just to give you an example that whenever you hover your mouse, the background screen changes, or what's happening to the environment, what's happening to the application, and all those things are functional testing. Any questions in functional testing? Okay, so that's more important. If you are going into QA, functional testing is what you will be doing it. Okay, so that is the major work for as a QA point of view. Okay, so let's move to the next one. So in integration testing, let's talk about this integration testing. So integration testing is like once you complete your functional testing, okay. I mean, before functional testing, you also have the smoke testing and sanity testing. Okay, we'll talk about this later. No, but once you complete functional testing, you move to the next testing, that's integration testing. So what exactly is this integration testing? That means integration is like the name itself, right? They have integrated various modules into one. Okay, in one web page, they have integrated all the modules. You know, let's take an example here, google.com. Okay, you may not see these recently, right? Previously there was so many modules in the header, you know, like images, YouTube, everything was here. Now they changed. They put that apps called Google Apps. When you put it, look at this. All these apps are here. This is what you call as integration testing. Okay, you have put all the apps into one small module, and you just put that. So that's called integration testing. Okay. Now this can be a third party. Okay, so here everything is owned by the Google, so all this Google products, but it can be a third party. Okay, and that's really not so easy. You might say, what's a big deal? Just copy that icon, put that URL, and it's done. That's integration. That may not be so simple every time. The reason because you cannot add some third party, third party people, third party company to just into web page. You need to get license. Backend work is a lot. Okay, you need to get the license. You need to coordinate with the developers, coordinate with the the third party developers, coordinate with this company developers, and then you need to integrate all this. And then you also need to make sure that your code is working and their code is working. So this integration is pretty complex. Okay. So they do a lot of things here. Okay. But that's what it is. Okay. So testing of integrated modules to verify combined functionality after integration. So that's called integration testing. Okay. Testing and integrated modules. A lot of modules which are integrated into one is called integration testing. Okay. Just for example, Google Apps. Okay. I click on this, it shows up. So if I want to go to Gmail, I want to see the news. If I want to shop, if I want to see my account, all this I can do in one page. I don't have to remember all the web pages, at once, which web page, news, what is the URL, I don't know. So everything Google has made you easy putting into one module. Okay. So that's the integration testing. Next, go to incremental integration testing. Okay. So here, what you do is the apps keep on get added, you keep on doing testing. Okay, that's called incremental, the name itself, right? Incremental, that means keep on increasing. Okay, so let's see here an example here. If I click at this is, okay, 14 apps, okay, 14 apps. I can scroll down. Okay, I got more, 9 apps. Now, if I want more, I have even more from, so that's called integration, incremental integration. Why? Because they keep on adding new apps here. You see this, new apps keep on adding, and you keep on testing it. That's called incremental integration testing. Because you see this, you keep on scrolling this, this keep on coming. Okay, there's a lot of things here showing up. Again, they have more apps here. They keep on adding, keep on testing. Okay, so that's called incremental integration testing. That means, okay, so here these are some apps. So tomorrow Google will add one more app here. We need to test that. Okay. Now when day after tomorrow again they have a new app. Okay, you need to test that. So that's called incremental integration testing. Okay. That means testing and continuous testing of an application when a new feature is being added. Okay, the same integration testing, but they keep on adding it, you need to keep on testing it. Okay. That's called incremental integration test. Let's go to the next one. Any questions so far?
No, so far good.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay.
But in this, you are as in Google Drive only, we are putting all the apps right in the Google. But in other application, it will be like different, like interacting with the other application. It will be like some other type, not like apps.
Right. So, yeah, there again, that's a good question. It's not, see, that's what I said. I just gave an example of app, but it don't have to be an app. That's right. You are correct. It don't have to be an app. You know what? It can be in form of some, let's say here, it's some form of URL here in the web page. This is a footer of this web page. This is an URL. And let's say, if I want to go to some URL, let's say root, okay, but this is not really part of Amazon. You see this, the URL has been completely changed. So now this is not an app, right? So you're right, it don't have to be an app. It can be anything which is integrated onto your web page.
Okay, so the URL you said like it will be like the website, like www is a URL, is a URL or
Yeah, that's URL, Universal Resource Locator. Yeah, this is called URL.
okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and now these guys may add third-party companies like Woot, or these are all third-party. They might be affiliated with Amazon, but not really owned by Amazon. Okay, right? They can work on business. It's not really owned by Amazon. They work. So that reason, when they add, they have to get this license. And a lot of back-end work from that company, from this company, and then they integrate this. Then after integration, after doing the integration, you need to test it. So that's how the integration works. And again, as you told, you don't have to be an app. It can be a URL, or it can be complete web page. It's based on whatever the requirements, however it is. Okay. So
May I know the difference between the web application and the URL, web page and URL?
So URL is something which is, you put in this is the address bar of a browser. So there is a browser, browser, right? The browser is whatever you want to access something, from the different server, okay, whatever the company server. So that's called browser. You have this web address. So this is called web address, and the URL is something which let's say URL google.com, that's URL, amazon.com, that's URL, ebay.com. Those are all called URL. The reason they are URL because actually it's an IP address. Okay, the IP address like 124.4. 123.1. So since you cannot remember all those things, you use this simple google.com, amazon.com. So that's they make it simple. Okay, that's the URL. And the web page, after using that URL, the page that shows you is called web page. Does it make sense? So now, when I use this, when I use my URL into the address bar of this browser and hit enter, the page which shows you in front of you is called web page. That means it is this whole page, complete page is called web page. Let me check if I can navigate this. So this is called web page. Okay, and this is actually the address bar of the browser, and this is the URL what I enter into the address bar. Okay. Okay, so let's move to the next topic. Oops, we are running out of time. Okay, system testing. So what we do in the system testing is whole system is being tested. Okay, so when I say the whole system, doesn't mean the whole system. It's as per the requirements. Okay, so now what is the system testing? See, the system testing is more related to client applications. Okay, so far we were talking about only web application that we can access only through browser, but now there are client applications such as Outlook are better. Is you previously there used to have the Google Hangouts. So just no more Google Hangout. I'm sorry, Google Talk, not just Hangouts, Google Talk. That was an example for a client application, because whenever you use this client application, you type something, it enters, it goes to a client server, gets the information, and then it goes to a particular respective owner of that person. So now you're communicating through a client application. So that means the internet connection may be there, may not be there, it doesn't matter much of this. But when you're using this web application, an internet connection should be there. Otherwise, Google.com don't shows up if you don't have internet. So that's a major difference in using this client application and web application. Okay. So now system testing is which you install something in your system. Okay, and you want to see, because there's a lot of things happen when you install a system. Okay, DLL files get updated. Registry files get a lot of things are happening. So you want to make sure that testing is done, or the system testing is done. Okay, so you need to test the entire system is tested as per the requirements. So whatever the requirement says, you need to test that one. So that's called system testing. Okay, and this is a part in the black box testing. This is pretty confusing, but this is black box testing is also sub-level. Okay, so system testing is also a part in the black box testing. Okay, so let's go to the next topic, end-to-end testing. Okay, so end-to-end testing, right? The name itself says from one end to other end. Okay, we'll just keep it simple here as a QA point of view. If you're going ETL, it's more complex. We'll just put it simple in the QA. What is from one end to other end? So one end means that starts from smoke testing. If you have smoke testing, sanity testing, functional testing, integration testing, incremental until end. That's regression testing and performance testing. So if all these testings are done, all the black box testing, white box testing, unit testing, if every testing is done, that's called end-to-end testing. Okay, that means what you're trying to do is here from to start to end. So from one end to other end, it's called end-to-end testing. To test any application, web application or client application, from one end to other end is called end-to-end testing. Let's see. Okay, but in ETL perspective, if you're talking in the ETL perspective, because ETL also involves some part in the front-end application. Okay, ETL is actually back-end and QA is a front-end. Okay, so in back-end, if you're talking about the back-end, there's the databases. There's a lot of jobs. There's a lot of data there. You're using a lot of data. You want to make sure front-end is also working, back-end is also working. So there's a lot of complexity in end-to-end testing for ETL perspective. But for a QA perspective, it's simple. As a QA point of view, so I'm muting. Okay, I'm muting everyone. If anyone has questions, you can unmute it. Okay, so from one point to other point is called, from one end to another end, including all testing. Okay, all testing should have been completed. Okay. So let's go to the next topic. Any questions? Okay. So here, we just quickly finish. is something called sanity testing. Okay, so before sanity, let's talk about the smoke testing. Okay, so it's not here, but I'm just saying smoke testing is. So why do we use the smoke testing first place? In the first place, you use smoke testing because you want to make sure is the application testable or not. Why? Because you're spending a lot of time there. Okay, you're spending in functional, you're spending in integration, a lot of things are going on, right? So first thing is try to make it out that is this application testable or not. So that's called smoke testing. Okay, that's called random testing. So the only difference between the smoke testing and functional testing is, you don't have test cases for smoke testing. Functional testing has test cases. Smoke testing doesn't, because the smoke testing should have completed only 2 to 4 hours. Not even that, less than that, 2 to 4 hours, smoke testing should be done. Okay, and it's pretty much random testing. Let's say, if this whole application here in front of you, and you want to test only, just like few buttons, let's click these buttons, is it tested? 2, 3 buttons, it's done. So that's called random testing. So normally this is also called as, not really called, but it's a random testing. Okay. So let's talk about this. I'm supposed to explain this before smoke testing, but now there are 3 kinds of environments. Okay, not just 3. I mean, for ease of convenience, we'll take 3. There are many kind of environments. We'll just take 3. First is dev environments, development. Whatever the development, all the coding work, all the updating, all those things are done in the dev environment. Okay, so what exactly is this environment? So environment, you can take it as for a ease of convenience server. Okay, development have their own server, testers have their own server, production people have this own server. Okay, now second is testing environment. In the testing environment, all the testing should be done. Okay, that's called whatever the testing, functional testing or whatever testing. Okay, all this should be done in the testing environment. And there is one more thing called production environment. Production environment, nobody has access, not testing, no developers. They have the production people, they have few people who have this access, not everyone, and they're not going to do anything on that, because that is not really for doing anything. It's for whenever the customers use this, let's say google.com. Now this is our production environment, because whatever you're doing is goes in a production database, so production development. Okay, so that's the 3 important things. And whenever you open some issues in not the smoke testing or something, if you open issues, you want to make sure it is fixed. Okay, so once you fix it, there are various builds. Okay, builds in sense, once the developer fix that issue, let's say you have opened some issue in smoke test. Okay, so this URL is not working, this web page is not good. You tell immediately to the developer saying that, hey, you know what, I'm using this and it's not really working. Now the developer, okay, let me check, and they'll figure it out maybe in 1 or 2 hours, and they'll say, okay, it's done. Okay, maybe just less than 2 hours, and they say, okay, now we will be going to builds. Builds is like, there's a middleware team, different team altogether, not development, not testers, not production. It's a middleware team where all the people, once it gets, they move the code from the developer to the test environment. Once the code is moved, then you can start testing. Okay, that's called build. The code, the movement of the code actually, from one environment to another environment. Okay, there's the middleware team and they work on that. Okay, so that's about different environments. And in Agile, it happens very fast. Once you found an issue, let's say at 10 a.m. you found an issue. The developer says, I fix it by 11 a.m. Another, let's say the build is 1 p.m. there's a build. It's 2 p.m. you need to start testing. So that's, that fast you have to work, because it's no more waterfall. Waterfall is like, today you have opened defect, next week defects was fixed. After 2 weeks, the build is ready. Now no more that kind of scenarios. No more. It's Agile. It's very fast, and you need to cope up with that. pretty fast movement. Okay, so it should be really fast on working on that one. So that's a various builds. Okay, so let's go to the sanity testing. So here in sanity testing, you want to make sure that the version, okay, so different version is, so it's normally the different version. Okay, once you check for that version, new build, they have put in a new build, okay, new code. You want to make sure that new one is also working. Okay, that's called sanity testing. Okay, testing to determine new version is performing well for your testing effort. It's called sanity testing. Same application, a different version. Okay. So let's go to the next topic, regression testing. Let's talk about this regression testing. In this testing, so this is actually, normally regression testing is done by a different team, not QA, not developers, not testers, not UAT, a different team altogether, because this is automation. Normally, whenever you are using regression testing, you need to use automation. That means a tool. So whatever have you done should be automated using tool. Okay. So now you can ask me a question saying that, hey, why did we spend all the time just doing QA? Why not we could have done the regression? We are using tool. Why don't we automate everything? Now you cannot automate everything. Okay. For as far as now, you cannot automate everything. There are some things which has to go manually, has to be checked, normally, because not all things can be automated simultaneously at that time. Okay, so it will take some time, So that's the reason you have both. One is with tool, with manual. Okay, tool, for example, QTP, Selenium, Load Runner. These are the examples of the tools you use for regression testing. Okay, does it make sense? So let me ask you a question here. Let's say what you're working. Okay, you're working with testing, and you've completed your testing, right? You've completed your testing, and suddenly a developer walks on your desk and asks you, hey, you know what? I've changed some code there. Okay, there was some issue with the code, and I've changed it. Can you retest it? Okay, he walks on your desk, and he says that. He changed some code, I don't know, because he might change some semicolon was missing, so he added some semicolon, that's it. And we don't know, because of that code, whole application might get crashed or something. Okay, everything might be, have changed. So what is your response? So as a QA point of view, can anyone tell me what will be your response? Developer just walks in by your desk and says, hey, you know what, I just, changed the code, and there was some issue in the code. We don't know what was the issue, and he figured it out, some issue, and can you start retesting it? Can anyone tell me what's your approach on this? Okay, so you know what? I would be saying that, are you kidding me? So we cannot retest it, because I have done my testing. We have completed this testing, and this is going 2 weeks, it's going to production. What we can do is we can let regression team know that you have changed the code, so they will look into it if there is any specific issue that they are going to face it. Okay, because there is no reason we are going to retest it, because we don't have resources. Most important thing is we don't have time to do this, because it already takes 1 week to do it, and we cannot waste some time for retesting. Okay, and why not, let's talk to a lead, and you need to just talk to the lead and say, what, we cannot do retesting, and check with the lead and take developer to the lead and see what we can do with this. Okay, so that's because because developer is saying to retest it, you cannot retest it, because you are not taking orders from developers, you are taking orders from your boss. Okay, if they find out that you are doing what developer says, then you will be in trouble. Okay, you are not going to do whatever developer says. If a developer says something, you need to check with the lead. Or if you are a lead, the lead will talk to various people and figure it out a solution for that. But no, just because someone is saying, hey, do this, and you go and do this, you cannot do that. That's really not a good idea of doing the work. Okay, once if somebody says to do this, we can have a talk. We can talk with the lead, other developers, other testers, and we can come up with some solution of doing that. Okay, but otherwise we cannot do whatever developer says. But yeah, of course, if the developer says, of course, it's your responsibility to take up that issue with the lead, because you cannot ignore it either. Okay, you cannot ignore if somebody says, hey, you have changed this code. Okay, good. If you have changed the code, I need to let my team know, because it might cause some issue, it might cause production issue, it might cause some other issue, we don't know. So it's better, we have talk with the meeting and set up some meeting with my lead. If required, my boss to let my boss know what's going on, what the code you have changed, we have this time limit, and how we are going to proceed. So that's how the importance of regression testing is. Okay, if somebody missed something, but it's not supposed to be QA miss. It's okay to developer miss, but if you miss, it's really not acceptable. If developer miss, that's the reason you can go ahead and test regression testing, and you can move forward. Okay, that's the use of regression testing. But you're not supposed to get many defects in regression, because if you get many defects in the regression, then the responsible guy is QA guy. They will catch your neck. Okay, why it is not tested in QA? Why in regression? The simple question from your boss will be, why this defect was found at this stage? Why not in testing? You need to answer that. Okay, so always make sure you should not leave many defects in regression, or it will end up in production issues. Okay, so we'll stop here. Any questions so far? So tomorrow we'll continue with other slides, and so this was just an introduction on various types of testing, how we perform, and what are the various testings we'll be doing it.
And you will provide the username and password, right?
Username and password? For what? Like, what are you looking for? I mean, I didn't get it. Like, you want username and password for any application, specific application, or? I mean, I'll be giving you access to this rally. I'll be giving you access to username and password, but not today. This will not be today. This will be mostly third class. So not today. Today, I'll be giving you this. So this video recording, okay? Video recording and homework. Okay, not really homework. You can go ahead and read some slides. I'll be sending you slides of this. You can have a look and understand this testing for tomorrow's class. Okay. But tomorrow I'll be giving you, from tomorrow onwards, I'll be giving you homework. So make sure you guys do the homework.
So you have all of our email address, right? For the record.
Yeah, I do have your email address. Okay, if you don't get, you know what, 4 p.m. is the deadline. If you don't get
Uh-huh.
before 4 p.m., okay, you can
Uh-huh.
email me back. My email ID is manu@itamerica.com.
Okay, Manu
MANU at
at
itamerica.
itamerica.com. Okay.
So
Okay.
mostly, you'll be getting by 2 hours. In just 2 hours, I'll just send an email.
Mhm.
But by 3 p.m. If you don't get by 3 p.m. or after that, then you need to you send me an email so that I'll add you in the list. Maybe you might not be in the list. Okay. So anyone, as a matter of fact, anyone who is in the class, who is attending class, make sure you get the recordings and material.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? Anyone?
Will you send this recording in our email?
Yeah, I'll send this to your email ID. If you don't receive it by, let's say, in 2 hours, okay, yeah, mostly I'll send it in 2 hours actually. By 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. if you don't get it, just send me an email. Okay, so I'll add you in the list and I'll send you the recordings.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, mostly it will take 2 hours the max. So. Okay. If no one has any questions, can we close this class for today?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.